Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the AHFES project in this webinar today, which is focused on food claims. We are already a good number of people in the webinar, so to respect to those that have been on time, let's start. I'm going to share my screen. So, as I was saying, thank you very much for joining this webinar today, which we have titled Claim to Fame. And well, as you know, it is focused on trying to provide you with good practices on how to use food claims and making impactful marketing claims related with nutrition, health, and sustainability in food and drink products. My name is Noelia Dosil. I'm Innovation Project Manager in the Galicia Food Cluster in Spain. And we have organized this webinar in collaboration with our colleagues from Big Innovation in Wales and the Instituto de Saúde Ricardo, Jorge in Portugal. So this webinar today has been organized in the scope of an Atlantic area project, which is the AHFES project. AHFES stands for Particle Helix Atlantic Area Healthy Food Ecosystem for Growth of SMEs. First, before going in the specific details of the content of the webinar, I would like to provide you with a general overview of the project and the benefits that it can bring to SMEs in the different Atlantic area countries. So first of all, AHFES, as said, is a European project funded by Interreg Atlantic Area. It started in March 2019 and will be running till August, more or less. However, we have received an extension from the program to continue in operation till February 2023. However, in that extension, the project will be complemented with a more focus on sustainability, through which the consortium will be providing support to SMEs on how to improve their sustainability strategies in relation with their healthy food products. So before that, the general context of the AHFES project is built on a common reality throughout the countries of the Atlantic area, in which we see that food is a priority in industrial strategies, that there's a common challenge to develop healthier food related with public health policies. And of course, that brings us to a need of developing collaboration strategies to foster innovation in SMEs. So in that context, in the project, well, we have developed different kind of activities related with networking, with studies on policies, on marketing trends, on consumer trends. But here today, I would like especially to mention the services that we have developed and also the training programs that we are providing specifically to SMEs. So now in the screen, you can see the catalog of services that we are providing. When I say we, is the whole consortium that we are providing to SMEs throughout the Atlantic area space. So meaning Portugal, Spain, France, Ireland, and UK, specifically Wales and Northern Ireland. So the innovation catalog has been structured in 4 areas, from innovation intelligence to internationalization, going through R&D alliances and projects, and also services more related with business growth. And in that regard, for innovation intelligence, those services are available through the project website. They are, let's say, collective. Through these services, we have prepared reports focused on consumer and market trends in different subsectors, including dairy, meat, bakery, etc. Similarly, we are also developing other reports which are more focused on research and development trends. So trying to see which are the trends that are being researched nowadays and that will impact the marketing trends in the future. Then we also provide services more related with building R&D alliances. And this is being done through the organization of inspirational webinars, such as this one today, the development of networking activities, but also the direct support to specific companies that want to develop a specific R&D and I project, or building a collaboration for innovation, for example. And we also map the calls available in the different territories, which are available in the project website as well. Similarly, specifically in the category of business growth, we have 3 services that are targeted. When I say targeted, I mean specifically targeted to the needs of individual SMEs. In this case, we are supporting a bunch of companies in developing their strategies for design and marketing support, for example, for marketing a specific healthy food product. We also provide support in identifying and contacting commercial partners in the different countries of the AHFES space. And we also have a service to try to support startups and SMEs in developing their business plans, for example, to launch a new product line. And finally, we have 2 services more related with internationalization, which are the development of internationalization strategies for specific markets that the company might be interested in, and the development of reports more focused on international market intelligence. Those 2 services are also individualized. I know this has been a very quick overview of the services that we have available, but I would like to encourage you to access the project website through this link in the showed in the screen, so you can have a better overview and understanding of the services and how they are available. As you have seen, the provision of these services, especially the individualized ones, will also be will only be available till August this year, but you are still on time to request them. So go to the website and see if those services might be of your interest. Besides the services, the project also has designed and provided a set of training programs that cover the whole chain related with developing and launching successful products in healthy food and drink sector. So this umbrella training program includes different sub-programs. First one focused on consumer insight and market understanding. Second one more directed to product life cycle management. The third program specifically addressing modules of market development, and finally the product development critical path management. So each one of these training programs includes different specific modules and tools that are designed specifically to help SMEs in applying them. So they are quite simple and practical. In each region, the partner contact point is providing different actions to make these materials available to the companies, but you can always access them through the website because the materials are there, easy accessible. I mean, you just have to register and then you can download them. So I've just mentioned the contact points. So who are those? As said, we have a group of partners that cover the different countries. So the consortium is led by the Galicia Food Cluster, Clusaga, here in Spain. In Spain, we also have the node south of EIT Food. Then in Portugal, we have enough cluster, Instituto Nacional de Saúde, Ricardo, Jorge. In France, we have the cluster Valorial. In Ireland, we have the National University of Ireland in Galway. And then in UK, we have Northern Ireland Food and Drink Association and Big Innovation in Wales. And also counting with the support of Food and Drink Wales for the provision of the project. So I would like to encourage you to contact your contact organization in your country and get to know more about the project and how you can benefit from it. Finally, I would just like to leave here the contacts of the project website and social media. And yeah, I encourage you to follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn to be well informed about the activities that we are organizing. So after this, I'll just stop sharing and move forward with the actual content of the webinar today. So as we have introduced this webinar in the program, we all know that consumers are more and more interested in the information that that companies provide in the products. They are more concerned about their health, nutrition, but also more concerned about the impact that the food industry might have on the environment. So this has led to the development of more and more labels on foodstuff. So the objective of the webinar today is to try to put a bit of light in the options you have in terms of nutrition, health, and environmental labels and claims. And for that, we would start with Sarah Robson. She's senior food technologist at 0 to 5 Food Industry Center in Cardiff Metropolitan University in Wales. She's going to provide a presentation about how to make nutritional claims. Then we will follow with Mariana Coelho from Instituto Nacional de Saúde, Ricardo, Jorge. She will speak about how to make health claims. And finally, we will hear the presentation of Maria Margallo from the University of Cantabria in Spain, who is going to talk to us about environmental ecolabels and how to channel that information to consumers. So yeah, let's start. Sarah, whenever you are ready, you can share your screen and start your presentation. Just to say, after the 3 presentations, we will have a discussion session. So we really encourage you to participate in that discussion with the speakers and with the rest of the audience as well. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'll just share my screen. So I'm going to speak to you about making nutritional claims and nutritional requirements on pack. So just a quick bit about us. As Noelia introduced me, I'm Sarah Robson, a senior food technologist from 0 to 5 Food Industry Centre in Wales. We're one of 3 centres in Wales, collectively known as the Food Innovation Wales, and are funded by the Welsh Government to provide bespoke technical, NPD and commercial support to eligible food and drink producers under Project Helix. We've got sister sites there. We're down in South Wales, as you can see on the little food map there. We've got a sister site in Mid Wales called Food Centre Wales, and up in North Wales we've got the Food Technology Centre. So the first few slides are just going to be covering the law, what you have to do and what you can choose to do. So we're based on Regulation 1169, Food Information for Consumers. You are required by law to provide back of pack nutritional information in a tabular form where possible, unless your pack is so small then linear is acceptable. And this, as demonstrated in the slide, is the minimum amount of information you can provide in the table. The information must all be in the same field of vision. It must be clear and it must be in this order. So you can see there energy, fat, of which saturates, carbohydrates, of which sugars, protein and salt. It must be in that order. The energy must be stated in kilojoules and kilocalories. The other nutritional amounts must be given in grams. Salt must be declared, not sodium, which is a change to previous, and nutrition must be expressed as per 100 grams or per 100 mils. You can add portion nutrition, so if you wanted to say per slice or per 15 grams or per tablespoon, you can add those, but if you do that, you must state the number of servings within the pack. When it comes to testing your nutrition, you can use theoretical nutrition or analytical nutrition. It's always best practice to test in triplicate, just in case you get any anomaly results. If you're making any nutritional claims, you would need to test annually to verify your claims. And if you make any changes to suppliers, raw materials, recipes, or your process, just make sure you retest. Here then is just a brief summary. Oh, sorry, I should say on the previous slide, there are some exceptions to mandatory nutrition. So products that are minimally processed and have a small nutritional value, such as herbs and spices, chewing gum, those types of products. And any small quantities of food, if you're a small manufacturer and you supply directly to your local area or consumers in your local area, the definition of local is that you're in the same or adjoining country as the manufacturer and no more than 30 miles or 50 kilometres between manufacture and sale. In those instances, you don't need to state a nutritional table. And if the largest surface area of your packaging is less than 25 centimetres squared. But if you're not sure, obviously contact local trading standards. This information then, as I say, is the voluntary information. By any means, you don't have to state it, but the points there in red, monounsaturates, polyunsaturates, polyol starch, fibre and vitamins and minerals. It might be appropriate for your product to state these. If you do, you've got to state them in grams. As I said, the other voluntary information is if you provide a consumption unit, but then you must state the number of servings, and you can voluntarily repeat nutritional information. So the nutrition table states on the back of pack, but you can repeat it on the front of pack in the form of perhaps a traffic light system, which you will have seen in supermarkets and on branded products. So this is stated on the front of pack. It's often a retailer or business retailer requirement or a business decision, and it helps to make customers make informed nutritional choices about purchasing a product. It's stated per serving, in which case you need to put the number of servings per pack. The colour coding is quite clear. If it's high, you should eat less of it. And if it's green, it's the more healthier option. It's displayed in grams, energy, saturated fats, fat, salt and sugar, and displays also the percentage contribution to your daily recommended intake. Also at the moment, we've got the AHFES, I've got to get that right, which is about restricting promotions of less healthy products, which are high in fat, salts and sugars. This is in retail stores and online. So there are rules and it works on a point system depending on your product formulation. Any products that are deemed to be high in the fat, salts or sugars according to the AHFES guidelines will no longer from October of this year be able to be promoted on aisle ends or have product offers such as buy one get one free in medium and large retail businesses. So yeah, that's something that we're seeing quite a few client requests coming in at the moment. Now on to nutritional claims specifically. So nutritional claims are only permitted if they are listed in the annex of the regulation 1924/2006. And this states that any claim which states, suggests or implies that a food has a particular beneficial nutritional property due to the energy it provides at a reduced or increased rate or does not provide, and similarly for any other nutrient. You will see on packs things like increased protein, reduced fats, energy reduced, light. All of these things are called comparative nutrition claims and stipulate a difference in the quantity of the nutrient or the energy value. So within the regulations, depending what claim you want to make, it gives you the very specific requirements that you need to achieve. So for example, if you wanted to say a nutrient was increased, you can only make this claim where the claim of a source of is complied with. So that's another claim in itself, and the increased or decreased content of the nutrient is at least 30% when compared to similar products on the market already. So you need to do a bit of investigative work there to see what's out there on the market. Similarly for light has the same requirements as reduced. It's just a slightly different term to be used. There's also other claims such as high protein, and these can be made where it's at least 20% of the energy value of the food is provided by protein, and things like no added sugars. The list within the regulation is quite extensive, and the requirements. So no added sugars is another example. So it cannot contain any added mono or disaccharides or any other sweetening ingredient. And if the sugar is present naturally, then it must state that on pack as well. So it must state naturally, contains naturally occurring sugars. So basically when you're looking at this, where you want to say something is high, low, or a source of, it's about your product. Where you want to make a comparative claim, it's about comparing your product to what's on the market. So it's really essential in early development stages, you decide what claims you want to make, because then you can tailor your recipe development in line with this. Do some benchmarking, see what's out there already. This slide is just a quick summary of, if you want to make comparative nutrition claims, the steps involved in it. So yeah, you need to look at the claims within the regulation. You need to select the category which you are going to produce your food within and which you want to compare to. Do some market research and see the products that are already on the market. You will need to record their nutritional information and then calculate the difference between your nutritional information and their nutritional information. As it says there, there's some appropriate wording for claiming, for making the claims, which are also stipulated in the regulation. And for these types of claims, you would need to redo the activity every 12 months because new products are constantly coming onto the market, and what you think is not a reduced claim or an increased claim may no longer be, because somebody might have brought something else out which no longer makes your claim applicable. Just briefly as well, I get asked sometimes about using the terms nutritious, which is more of a marketing term, and in the instance of regulations, it would be more of a health claim. Despite kind of referring to nutrition, it would perhaps be classed as a general non-specific benefit of a food. But if you are going to make a nutritious claim, it needs to be accompanied by a specific health claim. You need to state why your food is nutritious, not just because you think it is. Okay, on to the next then, free from. So if you're developing products, again, early stages of development, you want to identify exactly what you want to achieve from your product. So these free from should be a consideration there. If you're claiming your product is free from one of the 14 allergens, then you are saying that it is safe for someone who suffers with that allergenic reaction, that it is safe for them to consume it. So you really must be certain that your product is free from that allergen. So here's just a number of steps that you should have in place and consider when developing your product. You need to go back to the raw material suppliers. You need test certificates from them to prove that their raw materials are free from the allergens and risk of contamination. You would want to put a risk assessment in place for the ingredients and the products. Look to plan production. So it's scheduled. You either do free from products the first product of the day. You may have a dedicated day where you just do free from products, or after a deep clean. Obviously, if you don't have the specific allergen on site, and that's the way you manufacture, then these are not so applicable for scheduling, because all of your products will be free from. If you do you would need to have validation of cleaning. So you'd be looking to swab your lines with for allergens, and you would take the first products from the line for lab testing, just to prove that there are no allergens present in your product. And often, if you supply for a retailer, they will have their own requirements for a free from product. Vegan is one that's obviously increasing in popularity, and the claims regarding vegan are not legal. There is no legal definition because it's a lifestyle choice. So if you want to say something is vegan, yeah, there's no, as I say, sorry, there's no legal definition, but you really do need to consider all of your raw materials, possible cross-contamination. You also need to consider things like the packaging, the the ink, if you print onto the packaging, and the glue that's used, because all of these can pose potential non-vegan risks. If you wanted to use the Vegan Society or equivalent icon on your product, you would need to get in touch with them. You'd need an audit and to get approval. And you will probably see some products on the market that state they're vegan, but they may contain milk, for example. And this is because they've decided to put that on pack because some of their raw material has the potential to be contaminated by a non-vegan ingredient. So it would then be up to yourselves to decide whether that actually makes the product vegan, and if that would be the route that you would want to go down. Now this is more of an example of something that I've worked on in the past, but I know it's a question that gets asked quite a lot about product names, nutritional claims, and what can and can't be used. So under every circumstance, whatever product name you want to give your product, it must not be misleading to the consumer. So with the rise of milk alternatives, it seems to be appropriate to use an oat milk as an example. So milk is defined in a regulation 1234 2007. As with many other products, for example, sausages needs a certain meat content. There are lots of products out there that have definitions to them and can only be called the product name if they comply. So the question was, can oat milk be called oat milk? Well, no, it can't, because milk has its own definition, which is a mammary secretion from one or more milkings. So as oat milk is produced processed in a different way and derived from oats, it's not a milk. So you would need to call it something like an oat drink, an alternative, or a brand name, which suggests it's an oat drink. Milk products then means that the product is derived exclusively from milk, such as cream, butter, buttermilk, cheese, yogurts, and kefir. They've also they've all got definitions within the regulations, but there are exceptions. So if it's traditionally used name or a clear characteristic of a product, then the product can be, oh sorry, I lost my train of thought. Then the product can be known by that name, such as coconut milk, cream crackers, salad cream, butter beans. We know that they are not from milk. When you're developing the product and thinking about your labeling, you need to use the appropriate imagery. So again, do not mislead the consumer. And so a cow in a field or a milk bottle would not be appropriate for the use on an oat milk. And similarly with alternative spellings, you're still implying that it's milk, and so should not be used. And that, sorry, I think I've overrun a little bit, but yeah, that's hopefully a brief overview of nutrition claims. If you'd like any more information, there is our details, and we can accept questions at the end of the slides.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for your presentation. So as Sarah just said, please, you can note your questions for the Q&A, or you can already type them through the chat feature of Zoom. So now we move forward to our second presentation of this webinar today. Now it's Mariana Coelho, PhD from Instituto Nacional de Saúde, Doutor Ricardo, Jorge, in Portugal, and she will speak about health claims. So Mariana, when you want to start.
First of all, good morning. Thank you for the invitation to participate in this webinar. Today I'm going to present the topic health claims. And this communication will address the following points. First, I will introduce the claim definition and the legislation related to the claims. And then I will move to the health claims types, how health claims are approved, and also finally with some examples on wording of health claims. Maybe some topics in this presentation will repeat the previous presentation of Sarah. Sorry, I don't know. That's okay. Regarding the definition of claims, this means a message which is not mandatory that states the food has particular characteristics. Claims are regulated by the regulation 1924 that aims to harmonize the legislative rules on nutrition and health claims, ensuring a high level of consumer protection. It applies to nutrition and health claims, either on labeling or advertising of foods, and also to foods intend to supply restaurants, hospitals, schools, cafeterias, and other collective catering establishments. These nutrition and health claims should be factual, increase the consumption of the product, and suggest a healthy, balanced diet. Some general principles are established for all claims and are designing to ensure that claims don't bring into doubt the adequacy of a balanced diet and don't mislead consumers about the likely benefits of a food. Claims should not endorse excessive consumption of a food, and also should not try to drive purchase by alarming consumers about the consequence for health of an inadequate intake of nutrients. Claims are only permitted in the following circumstances. The claim benefit is supported by scientific evidence. The level of the nutrient is such that the claim effect will be displayed when a significant quantity of the food is consumed. The nutrient is in a form available to the body. It means that it is bioavailable. The average consumer can expect to understand the beneficial effects, and also claims should refer to the food prepared for consumption according to the instructions given. The regulation of nutrition and health claims on foods are set by nutrient profiles. This means that foods with nutrition and health claims must meet certain nutritional requirements that are, and these conditions are in order to be eligible to make such claims, and are taking into account the nutritional health claims, taking into account the absent scientific advice. According to the regulation 1924, we have two types of claims: the nutritional claims and the health claims. Nutritional claims is about the constituent of a food. This means that the food has particular beneficial nutritional benefit properties, due either to the energy or caloric value that it provides, that reduce, increase, or not provides any energy value, or to the nutrients or other substance that it contains. We can divide the nutritional claims into types, the content claims and the comparative claims, as the previous presenter present before. An example of a content claim is, for example, high fiber. This means that the product contains at least 6 grams of fiber per 100 grams, or at least 3 grams of fiber per 100 kilocalories. Comparative claims are slightly different, and its control is based on the extent of the difference in nutrient content between the product with the claim and the similar products. Health claims is related to one of constituent of the food, and this relationship between health and well-being. This means that exists a relationship between a food category, a food, or one of its constituents and health. In the next slide, we have some examples of nutrition and health claims. For example, the nutrition claims rich in vitamin B12. It means that the product contains at least a significant amount of vitamin B12, meaning the content is higher than 15% of the recommended allowance. An example of an health claim is thiamine contributes to the normal function of the heart, or for example, calcium may help to improve the bone density. In this case, we have a relation between the nutrient and the health effect. So move now to the topic of this webinar. The definition of health claim is any statement used on labels, in marketing or in advertising that relates to food or one of its constituents to health or well-being. There are different types of health claims. As we see, they are with general function, reduction of disease risk, and also claims referring to children's development. Now, in more detail, when we analyze the general function health claims, they are based on well-established scientific data and refers to a role of a nutrient in the physical or mental functions, including the weight control, by decrease the sense of hunger or the availability of energy from the diet. For example, as I said before, thiamine contributes to the normal function of the heart. In this case, I would like to note that that claims that make reference to a rate or amount of weight loss are not premised, or health, or if health could be affected by the non-consumption of the food also. Novel general function claims are in the same group and are based on the newly generated scientific data. These claims are limited, and so far only health claims have been approved under this procedure. Example of claims on the reduce of disease risk and other substances that may improve or modify the normal function of the body are, for example, plant sterols that have shown to reduce the cholesterol level. It means the risk of development of a coronary heart disease, or for example, calcium may help improve the bone density. Now, in more details, as we know, nutrition and health claims must be approved before they can be used on foods, and this process is a little bit complex and includes a register. The Commission established a EU register of nutrition and health claims, which is available online. This register includes the permitted nutrition claims and their conditions of use, The authorized health plans split into their different types, as I presented before, and the non-authorized health claims split also into their different types with the reasons of their non-authorization. To approve a health claim, we have a process that begins with the EFSA panel to provide a scientific opinion on the proposed claim dossier, which must be submitted to EFSA to consideration. Then the EFSA, the European Commission considers the EFSA opinion and also the consumer understanding of the proposed wording and then give the final decision of to the proposed claim. A list of the permit claims and conditions of use and reject of claims is published by the European Commission. Following the end of the Brexit transition period, the UK Nutrition and Health Claims Committee will replace by the EFSA Nutrition and Allergy Panel. So, when evaluating a new health claim, the EFSA Nutrition Panel focuses on three main criteria that are: is the food or ingredient properly defined for the claim effect? Is the claim effect properly defined? And finally, what is the evidence? Looking at the first criteria, is the food or ingredient properly defined for the claim effect? Here in this slide we have an example. For example, if we want to state a claim on weight reduced for diet products, we have this is not very defined because diet products have in global several different products with different composition that can affect the body weight. So we have to be more specific when we select the product to make health claim. And for example, if we choose the yogurt, this could be then this product could be well sufficiently characterized and could be possible to an option to make a health claim. And now looking to the second criteria, there is the claim effect properly defined. For example, if you want to propose a claim stating that the food improves our body shape, this is too any specific because the body shape can be measured, and the EFSA will have some problems to analyze this. So we need to be more specific. But if we propose a claim stating that the food helps to reduce our body weight, this will be more specific, and because it can be measured. So this is a good option and a correctly option to propose. Then finally we have the two conditions, and we go to the third. If the third condition is related to the analysis of the available data to see whether it's sufficient if there is sufficient evidence to support the claim. In this case, we have the human intervention studies and other studies that were developed. They are crucial to support the evidence to approve a health claim. And then after this process, these three criteria were analyzed. We have the final conclusions of an EFSA scientific evaluation. This conclusion can be along three grades. First, if the cause and effect has been well established, the decision is a positive decision. And if there is insufficient evidence to establish a cause and effect relationship between the food and health effect, we need to resubmit the process and to pass again through the 3 criteria. And then if a cause and effect was not being established, the decision will be negative. Now moving to the wording of health claims. When wording health claims on package, food business should keep as close as possible to the authorized wording list in the UA register. The official wording of claims can be viewed on the online EC register nutritional and health claims. And health claims could range from simple to complex and more or less familiar, as we can see here in these examples. So in more details, the wording of health claims may present a barrier to consumers' understanding because the use of scientific terms may be hard to understand. So health claims may have high lexical density and may tend to use normalization. For example, selenium contributes to the protection of cells from oxidative stress, and for example, selenium contributes to antioxidant activity. Here we have an example from a complex lexical that may be not well understood for the common consumers. So, as I said before, while food business should keep as close as possible to the authorized wording list in the EU register, some flexibility is possible to adapt to the wording of the health claims to help consumers to understanding that. Although it is important, but it is important that health claim is not made stronger than the authorized claim. For example, if we have, for example, for selenium, here we have that selenium contributes to the normal function of the immune system. This is okay, but if if we substitute the normal function by the selenium optimize the normal function of the immune system, this is a strong word, and this is not acceptable for the EFSA. And also in the green box, we can see some examples of the flexibility of the wording on health claims. For example, selenium plays a role in normal function of the immune system, or selenium supports a normal function of the immune system. So, finally, to conclude, health claims should only be made for nutrient, substance, foods, or food categories for which they have been authorized, and not for the product that contains them. And food industry are allowed some flexibility to reword claims, but it's not easy to know which change consumers will prefer. So, and that's all. Thank you for your attention. This is my email. If you have any questions, I can answer later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. So we go now to the third presentation of the program. Now, Maria Margallo from University of Cantabria will speak about ecolabeling in products.
Okay, thank you. I will share now my screen. Okay, good morning, all of you. I'm going to finish this webinar with the environmental part. So I'm going to talk about the ecolabeling of products and how to provide this environmental information to consumers. Well, here you will find some, well, we have another project. So I put here the logo is an indirect project that is related with yours. Is something, well, it's, sorry, I didn't start right here. Yeah, so this is a water energy seafood nexus, and we want to get the ecolabeling of this product. And well, this is our partnership. We have also partners from Portugal, Spain, France, UK, and Ireland. And well, the aim of this project is to get, as I said, an environmental ecolabel. So I will tell you about that, about a small introduction to ecolabeling, which are the standards and principles of this type of environmental labeling, which is the main classification. I will talk to you about type 1, type 2, and type 3 of ecolabels, and I will finish with some remarks and conclusions. So the first thing that we need to know is what is an ecolabel, which is the aim of this type of environmental information, is to provide these environmental issues to consumer in order to, well, to encourage them to the demand and the supply of a more environmental friendly products. So we want to stimulate the market for these green products using the communication of environmental claims of environmental labeling. But of course, something that is important is to avoid this greenwashing or to avoid the confusion. Normally, when we go to the supermarket or any type of shop, we can find these claims of organic, bio, eco-friendly, or natural, and sometimes we are confused about the meaning of this word. So here you have some examples of greenwashing when we change the logo of a company to be green, so we think that is better, or when we get this type of chemical-free, organic, or natural. So there is a bit of greenwashing in food product, but also in clothes or in other type of products. Why we are using more and more ecolabels? You can see in this graph how the number of ecolabels that have been created around the world has been increased, and this is because we have a greater concern of the impact that have our activities. So there are a lot of new ecolabels. We have to find a standard in this sense. That is why we have these reference and standard documents. As you know, those series that start by the 40,000 means that we are talking about environmental issues, and those that finish with 20, 21, 20, 25 are related with ecolabels. So the first one is the general principles, that is the finish in 20. And later we have 21 and 25 that are two types of ecolabels that I will explain later. Additionally, we have the general for all footprint information, that is 26. And we have also those related with water footprint and carbon footprint. So to finish, we have the last one is the product category rules that we will see later. That is related with the last type of ecolabels, that is type number 3. So as you can see in this slide, we have a lot of standards and documents that depend on the type of ecolabel that we are using. So we have all these standards, and we have to use it to avoid well, this greenwashing and this type of not real information about the environmental impact or performance of our products. Just to start some definition about what is an environmental label or environmental declaration and what is an environmental claim. So the first one is a claim that indicates the environmental aspect of a product or service. Mainly, a service could be a waste management system or a tourist activity. But we have the environmental claim that could be a statement, a symbol, or a graphic that indicates also an environmental aspect of a product, but also it could be of a component of that product or just about the packaging. It's very common to have information about the packaging in, for example, in foods. Okay, so which are the key principles for these labels and claims? So these labels must be verifiable and relevant, not using confusing information. Has to be based on a scientific methodology, of course. has to be accessible to all interested parties, have to take in consideration all the product's life cycle. This is related with the life cycle assessment methodology. That's I will make a small introduction to that later. Has to be open and has to be complemented with other relevant information. So these are the principles that the standard of the general guidelines set about what labels and claims must have. And we have other aspects that are important to do the classification of labels. That we can set, we have a self-declared environmental labeling. Is a label that made the producer or the distributor. We have a third-party environmental labeling that we need somebody out of the company that verifies our environmental labeling. It could be related to a product, that's the most common, but also we can have some corporate related labeling. Most of them are voluntary, but we have some mandatory labeling. Imagine that you need the REACH for chemical products or other type of labeling. It could be based on a single use, like the carbon footprint or something like that, or it could be based on a multi-criteria. So based on this classification, we have three types of eco-labels. The first one is voluntary eco-label, and is based on a multi-criteria aspect, not only in one environmental impact, for example. Has to be acquired by a third party, and normally it indicates the overall environmental preferability of a product within a particular category. The second one is a self-declared environmental label without certification, and as I said before, it's made by manufacturers, importer. So this is not as verified as the first one. And the last one, that is the most complex, is an environmental product declaration that provides an environmental profile of our product or of process. So here you will see a summary of aspects of the three labeling and the standard. Well, one of the most important thing is the use of life cycle assessment that is only applied in the last type of a label. So, well, just a small comment. A life cycle assessment is an environmental tool that allows to determine the environmental impact from the cradle to grave, from the raw material extraction to the end of life of the product. And as you see, only the type 3 provides or use this methodology to get the environmental product declaration. Only the first one requires a third-party verification, but we will see that the type number 3 it has a certification also. So type number 2 is the one that not require any type of verification. So what communicate these eco labels? The first one is that your product is better from a life cycle and multi-criteria perspective. The second one just presents a specific environmental benefit that, for example, we use less water or we use require oil in our products. And the type number 3 gives an environmental profile, the complete environmental profile of a product. How or what does it look like? The first one is a seal of approval. The second one could be a logo or a claim, and the last one is a short report. So based on this, the labels could be useful for different conditions. For example, if we want to make a communication from a business to consumer, the two types, the two first are good because we have just a claim or a logo or a seal. But the last one is not very useful because we have a short report that is not very useful for consumers. This is not the case if we want to go to a communication business to business, where type number 3 is the most complex. And if we go to a green procurement, the type number 2 is the worst because we don't have this certification or verification. So just some example of this type of ecolabels. As I said before, the type number 1 that follow this standard 2024 is licensed for use only after the product is proven to meet the standard. So it has to be voluntary, open, and we need this third part that verifies that our product meets the standard. Some examples at European level is the European Ecolabel. We have also the Blue Angel or the Green Seal. These are one of the most important ecolabels of type 1. And well, if we go more to food, we have a similar to type 1 example in the seafood market. That is the MSC fisheries standard. That is only applicable for marine and freshwater organisms. And with this label, we are going to certify that our fisheries standard is certified by this type of ecolabel. So you will find in fresh products, you will find in processes foods. So here you have some pictures of the use of this ecolabel in the market. Well, type number 2 are called self-declaration, and well, it's a claim that is made by a manufacturer. You don't have this verification that have the previous one, but if we want to be ISO compliant, we need to follow the specific requirements. It could be a statement, a symbol, or a graphic, and it could appear not only in the product, but also in the packaging, or it could be in a technical bulletin or in a digital media. So, well, here I will show you some examples of this type of labeling. You have, for example, this one is the reduction of the carbon dioxide emission. Most of them are based on the recyclability of the product or the packaging and about the end of life of these products. This the requirement of this self-declaration labelings are, of course, that we cannot use not specific claims like this is environmentally friendly, not polluting, green. So yes, we have to try to avoid this type of claims. Of course, the claims of sustainability, because sustainability is something very, very complex. And if we put just this is sustainable, this is not real. We can use symbols. This is optional, but it has to be symbols that we can understand easily. And if we use, we have some specific symbols for example, the recycled content. That this is the symbol that you can see in many products. If you have a plastic bottle, in the bottom you will find this symbol, for example. Well, another examples of this type of declaration are, for example, in the food sector. You will see here, well, it's in Spanish, but that the amount of oil and water are just required, that they use recyclable materials, that they use eco ingredients, and the one that I told you before, the MSC. So some of the claims are not clear, like for example the use of eco ingredients. This is not, as I said before, this is a bug or not a specific claims. Okay, here you will find another type of information. Well, this is the Nutri-Score, the use of less plastic. So these are just information that provide the consumer, that the consumer have made some study and provide this type of claim in their products. Here you have more examples. This is for cement and concrete products that will reduce the carbon dioxide and use recycled materials, and the same for a type of floor. Finally, we have the type number 3 that are called environmental product declaration. In this case, we are going to or you need to apply a life cycle assessment to carry out the study before doing the Ecolabeling. So depending on the type of product that you are going to analyze, you have a specific product category rules. For example, if you want to make an environmental product declaration of seafood, you need these product declaration rules to conduct your life cycle assessment, and later you will get this report that provides qualitative and quantitative environmental information. You don't have this certification as has type number 1, but you need you will be registered in the EPD scheme, and it has to be verified. So if you go, for example, if you want in any moment you want to check, you can go to the website of EPD, and there you can see the different products and the environmental product declaration, for example, of pasture related information. So you will find a report with all the environmental impact of your product, but it's just an information. We don't say this is better or we reduce. We don't have this type of claims. It's just a complete report. The other type of labels on this group are the environmental footprint communication. Normally, this allows a comparison between products within the same product category, and also they consider all the stages of the life cycle of the products, and some good examples are the carbon footprint, water footprint, and the ecological footprint. So maybe you can find in some products this symbol with the amount of carbon dioxide, or with the amount of water, or with the water footprint. So just to conclude, and some remarks, you can see that ecolabels can be applied to a wide range of product. I have focused more on food, but it could be on construction, on clothes, so any type of product can have an ecolabel. Can be a statement, symbols, or graphic, as you see, depending on the type of ecolabel. But it is important to use specific claims and to avoid this greenwashing, because this confuses to the consumer, as well as the high number of ecolabels that are in the market. So depending on your needs, you can get one of these 3 ecolabels. And remember that if you have this third-party verification, it involves higher costs in the development and in the previous to continue with the label, you have to pay, no? Not every year, but for example, each 3 years or 5 years, you have to verify that you will continue with the label. So I think that's all from my part. Here you will find my email, and if you have any question, I'll be here to answer.
Thank you, Maria, for the presentation. So we would like to move now to the discussion. So those of you that have any comments, questions, doubts, you can just activate your microphone or raise your hand and intervene. Or if you have, any issues with your microphone, you can also use the chat to send your questions. So we got one question through the chat regarding the provision of the presentations. The recording of the webinar will be available through the website of the AHFES project. But well, we will also see with the presenters if we can also share the presentation directly with you.
Hi, Noelia.
Hi,
I don't think we've got any questions. I just wanted to heartily thank our three speakers today for, very interesting and informative presentations. And I've certainly learned a lot myself. And I hope that everyone who's joined us here will have found that useful and something that they can take forward to the benefit of the products that they're bringing to market.
Yes, fully agree, Alison. So thank you very much, Sarah, Mariana, and Maria, for your presentations and availability today. And thank you everyone for joining the AHFES Consortium for this webinar today. So as said in the beginning, we encourage you to follow the project in social media and website for services and trainings, and specifically also about news on trainings which are still being developed and provided. I think actually Alison has some news regarding that.
Yes, so this week we working with the team at INSA, we are launching two new training modules. One talks in depth about product testing during your development process, and the other covers legal labeling. And we'll shortly be having available how to manage your pack copy and to check your artwork, which are both critical steps in, very appropriate to claims and all of the other things we've heard today. So please do check out the AHFES website, the training, and if you have any queries, just come back to your AHFES partner in your particular region.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Sarah, Mariana, Maria, and everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.